Hey folks, welcome to another video from aplanetruth.info. Well, this dovetails with yesterday's piece I did chronicling about how weather is being generated to create the environment so we can have cooling off so the earth does not just completely heat up. And here we see a fire from Fort McMurray that happened last year in August that started as a 1 kilometer fire and grew into a 2-month-long fire evacuations. But more clearly, this channel Truth has come out and is starting to question what type of fire. And if you take a look at this picture right here, here's a bedroom community that was devastated, but look at the devastation. The trees are still up, there's still life around, except the homes are devastated like a directed energy weapon. And this is the question I'm asking. Did they use a directed energy weapons to start the fires and continue the fires going on in Fort McMurray? And there was also another fire up in Canada. This was August of last year. And look at this house here. One house gets absolutely pulverized and destroyed, and the next house next to it is completely fine. And we see this time and time again. Cars are absolutely incinerated, but look in the back. There's a wooden fence still standing. How can that be? And it seems like these, as Truth documents here in a little bit, that the weather came out of nowhere. And I'll do the timeline and show it was a complete surprise to the fire departments and kept growing. Here we see absolute devastation, but then we see trees. This was in May. It was 86 degrees in May in Canada, folks. Look at the inside of this car. Doesn't this remind you of 9/11 when cars were charred outside of the 9/11 buildings? Look at this house right next to it. Absolute devastation, but the other house is still perfect. This is what I mean. So first let's look at the timeline of how this fire started, and then we'll get into a little more about what happened. Let's go over quickly the timeline of the Fort McMurray wildfire, and you get an idea of what happened and how fast this thing just absolutely exploded. And they do use the word exploded here. So May 1st, May Day, right? May 1st, part of the satanic cult's rituals, day of spring. A fire starts in a remote part of the forest southwest of Fort McMurray. Investigators don't know how it started, but note that most spring wildfires are caused by people. Trees are still greening, making lots of fuel. Well, it just finished winter, folks. It's in Canada. There's snow. It's cold. It shouldn't be fires starting in May. Fort McMurray's Gregor neighborhood is prepared to evacuate on short notice. So the fire began May 1st. At that night, they're beginning evacuations. Local state of emergency, mandatory evacuation for Gregor. Aircraft the next day. The fire is 1 square kilometer in size. We are hopeful that we can stop this fire before it gets into town, said Chief Darby Allen. All things look good, said Mayor Melissa Blake. Overnight, fire grows 26 kilometers. Okay, so it was 10 growing, or 1 square kilometer growing to 26 kilometers. Everything's normal, fine. All right, a change in normal atmosphere temperature is called an inversion breaks. This, coupled with temperatures in the range of 30 degrees centigrade or 86 degrees Fahrenheit in May in Canada, Alberta, low humidity and shifting winds caused the fire to explode. Totally unexpected by these guys. They thought it had a control. 1 square kilometer, now it's exploding. They're shocked at how quickly the situation has deteriorated. When I got out of the shower earlier today, the sky was blue. When I got out, it was black. A half hour later, there's chaos in the city's south side as people flee towering walls of orange flames that are charging into neighborhoods. Remember, these guys thought that it looks good. All things look good just a day before, 2 days before. All of Fort McMurray is placed under a mandatory evacuation order. Emergency officials say whole neighborhoods have been destroyed in 2 days, folks. The next morning, cars are strung along ditches and police are running jerry cans of gasoline to drivers who have run out trying to escape the fire. To the north of the city, thousands have taken refuge in oil sands work camps. This is the fracking capital of the world. Alberta government declares a provincial state emergency, so it's a provincial, their province, their state, it can control the response. The fire has ballooned to 850 square kilometers. Next, that was May 5th. May 6th, 1,560 kilometers, 2,000 kilometers. It's out of control. It's gotten from 1 square kilometer. Look at what's happened. It says 100 buildings were lost. They're working together to restart the oil lands project because business has to get going, right? Now notice this. This started May 1, and now this is May 16th on the timeline. This is very important. Notley says the air quality in Fort McMurray is at dangerous levels and is hampering efforts to get the residents back to their homes. The Air Quality Health Index scale is normally 1 to 10, with 10 being the worst, but the reading that morning was 38. 38, over 300% greater than their highest scale of the health index goes up to. What is in this stuff, people? Why is this happening a week and a half or more after the event in the air? What's hanging around? The Alberta government says people could return to start homes on June 1st if the conditions are safe. It has now scorched 3,500 square kilometers as conditions remain dry and windy. So now on May 20th, 19 days after it started, conditions have improved enough for the province to bring an extra 1,000 firefighters over the next 2 weeks to try and gain an upper hand. It's still out of control. They still don't have control of it some 3 weeks after it started. Finally, July 4th, months later, the fire is classified under control. So let's look at the pictures again.
You know, I just want you to take a peek at some of these. You see, it's all charred. And even if the whole house is totaled, you know, you still have debris. You still have some wood, even if the house burned. You know. So I just want you to take a couple minutes just to look at this stuff with me, okay? See how the outline of the house still pretty much stands, but it's all black. I mean, that's the one thing about a house fire, is that everything's black. And well, this is the stuff that they spray on it. See, this is what they put the fire out with, but the house itself is black. And this car still has its wheels. It's black. It's got its windows. Dark gray smoke in a forest fire, okay? Black smoke in a forest fire. Now, okay, well, I'm comparing it to 9/11, so that's the point, is that these fires are white. This is Alberta, Canada. This is a big, huge fire they had a couple of years ago or last year. And I just want you to notice that the fires are white. The smoke is white. This is Alberta. I mean, look at this. Look at how white the smoke is. The smoke should look very familiar to us. We've seen this. Okay? We've seen this grayish white smoke. Now, this is where it starts getting creepier. After the damage I just showed you of what a normal house fire looks like, take a look at these pictures. Here is, well, I'll just keep scrolling through. Look at this. Where is everything? Where's the black? Where's the materials that were here? Where are the granite countertops and the bathtubs? Where are they? Where are the materials of these houses? There's absolutely nothing here. There's nothing here, and the trees trunks are still here. But these things are there's no frame. There's no frame to these. This just doesn't make any sense. Where's the glass? Where is the glass for this thing? Do you know what temperature glass melts at? Glass melts at 2,400 degrees Fahrenheit. Now look at this. Tell me where this fire entered. Where did this fire come from? It's green around here. Maybe it came from here, but I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It's all white. Where's the glass for these cars? None of these cars have any glass. And look at the wheels. See the bottom of the wheels here? I'm going to show you in a minute. When these tires melt, when cars catch on fire and the tires melt, they have these like copper wires. There's no wheels, and they just are all fried. But now look at this. You can see the goop down here from there's stuff down here. But now look here. Here we have twisted metal, which is also from something we experienced in 9/11, isn't it? See this twisted metal? This is a big I-beam, you know, because it doesn't make any sense how this fire burned. These trees weren't burned, so this wasn't a forest fire. You can see it burned through here, but these trees are fine. How did it cross the street? How did it get through here? This is an island. This is like a little court island. So where is this fire coming from? None of this makes any sense. So let me just show you some more pictures. Look at this. This is crazy. There is like nothing here, and it's all white. Everything here is white. I don't know. It just reminded me of this. This is what it reminds me of. It's like the same debris field, or lack thereof. You know? I mean, you want to tell me every granite countertop and all the windows and all the structures, because it must have moved through so fast. So, okay, so it moved through fast. So some of the structures should still be here. There's just a couple of pieces of brick. And look at this. It went across the street and it missed this house and missed this house and burned everything but the trees. I mean, this is just, this, I don't know why anybody hasn't looked at this. But look at this mess. Where's the property? Where's the material that was in these houses? You mean to tell me the entire structure of the building went down and these little pieces of trees didn't? And see, now where's the trail of the fire? You have this wall of green here. This didn't catch on fire. And this didn't catch on fire. So where's it coming from? If this didn't catch on fire, where did it come from? I mean, these houses have nothing left in them. They're just flattened. And look at this. This one, how did this one catch on fire? What the heck I mean, these pictures, they don't make any sense to me. And this has been bugging me for a while. Look at this. What the hell happened there? Look at this. This looks like the inside of the World Trade Center, what was left of it. How did this happen? This house is like deteriorated.
So that was the directed energy weapons possibly being used in Alberta, Canada fires, also with the aluminum used with geoengineering over decades. That's certainly helping spark the fires, but it sure looked like that thing was combusted and directed energy and just pulverized concrete and just blasted everything in its place. All right, so in closing, I just want to, I've been kind of taking a task, Geoengineering Watch, the research leader in geoengineering here, and I don't know what they're posting these days. The other day's post, geoengineering is now causing lethal UV radiation exposure. Now, I followed Mr. Wigginton when he talked about UVB levels and the intensity of the sun being because of UVB. He brought out the instruments and he showed testing UVA and UVB, subtracted UVB from UVA, and showed that it was over 1,000% above what's being reported by the EPA as far as UVB levels. They were reporting, I think, 5%.
Total. So with another meter, so we'll turn the sensor again toward the sun. This measurement you see here is a combination of UVA and UVB combined. End up with about 60% of the total incoming UV is UVB, and that's simply off the charts. So that's our UVA measurement. Now we're going to measure UVA and UVB, and we'll subtract the UVA measurement from that.
But now Mr. Wigginton is coming out and saying the ultimate killer UVC spectrum is now in play. But I'm very questioning his scientific approach to this statement. All official UV monitoring sources tell us that lethal UVC radiation from the sun is stopped up at 100,000 feet in the air. So Geoengineering Watch has a source. This source is a NASA aeronautics engineer, a veteran of 40 years in the field of atmospheric study and ozone depletion, who is doing his best to sound the alarm. Take my word for it, 40-year NASA employee, can't tell you about the guy. So here's where I get into the misdirection that just really bothers me with what he's doing here. Many mainstream sources confirm ozone damage will occur. Many mainstream sources confirm ozone damage will occur. So he provides a lot of links, and when you go to these links, this is from Think Progress. Geoengineering scheme damages the ozone layer back from 2008. So it's a scheme damaging the ozone layer. But folks, show me where it says what he just said about, UVB. And this is the whole article here. It doesn't confirm what he was just stating was confirmation of his statement here in this article. Getting right back to it. I mean, mainstream sources confirm ozone damage will occur from geoengineering, and this is the article you're citing. This isn't confirmation. They say it's a scheme. It's written kind of a puff piece back in 2008. Sorry, not confirmation. That is not a link that confirms what you're saying here, Mr. Wigginton. All right, so going on, this UVC is going to kill us all. It looks like now a new thing. So he's saying our NASA engineer colleague, it's the severity of UVC radiation exposure is crystal clear. The chart was kept as basic as possible. Note the baseline is set at 1 for UVC levels because they don't recognize it. All official UV monitoring sources officially deny the ongoing climate engineering. All right, so here's the chart that he and his NASA engineer of 40 years made up. My 5th grade son could make this chart, folks. Where's the time dates? Where's the measurement apparatuses? Where's the testing measurements used? Now we find out the UVC radiation reading on the chart was taken on 1/117. So here he's had all this deadly radiation information from this chart from 1/117 from his 40-year NASA insider, and he's releasing it now? Ongoing measurements are in a similar range. Take my word for it. He's not doing any proof. Well, here we have a chart. So this is from August 5th, just the other day, reveals the increasing spikes of ever more lethal UV radiation. Now, this is made up by, I assume, Mr. Wigginton at Geoengineering Watch, since he's the lead researcher there, and they're in nanometers. And what does this show us? Nothing. It shows August 5th spikes of what time frame? What are these numbers? I mean, what does this mean? It just makes no sense that he's trying to make his case that all of a sudden he's coming out and saying UVC is here and it's going to kill us all. And then he throws in a bunch of quotes that UVC doesn't exist. And he talks about a bunch of fires going on. But he never makes the case about UVC. He just talks about this NASA engineer that must remain anonymous. Take my word for it, folks. Take my word for it. Sorry, Mr. Wigginton, I need the proof. If you want the proof, sir, maybe I can help you. Here you can go over for $142 and you could buy your own UVC meter and measure for yourself and prove to us the UVC is off the charts, as you are claiming with these innocuous charts that are just made up by your anonymous NASA engineer and yourself. And then you show us, like you did with the UVB, how this is true. All right? I'd love to see it, but your scientific proof here is failing miserably here, sir. So that's all I got for today. This is a Plain Truth out. We'll catch you on the next video.